So today's lesson is about designing a monthly budget. This is probably one of the most useful lessons that you will learn. So we have the income is the money you earn, and the expenses are the money you spend. So these are the two things we look at when we're designing a budget: how much you make and how much you spend. So when you're talking about a budget, it's an organized list that compares your income to your expenses. Please put it on silent. So the reason we use budgets is to make sure that we're not basically in debt, right? So we make sure that whatever we spend is not more than whatever we make. As well as to help you know where exactly your money is going, right? Where are you spending most of your money on, and how can you, if you are going below your income, if you're spending more than your income, how can you save to make sure that you don't do that? And as well as to help you focus on your spending on the things that are most important to you. Things that you should also look for is not only how much you can spend, but also how much you can save. So when you're designing your monthly budget, you should always aim on at least whatever income you make, at least to put some away for savings. And this, whatever money you put away for the savings, is considered as an expense, right? Because this is money coming out of your income, right? You're putting it away, yes, to be used later on, but it's still considered as an expense. When you're designing monthly budget, when you're designing a budget, we usually design it monthly. So everything has to be calculated monthly. And then if you want to know how much your annual amount is, all what you have to do is multiply your numbers by 12, right? Because that's easy. When you're recording in the table of value, you're going to have two different things. You're going to have income and you're going to have expense. When we're talking about expenses, we're going to split the expenses into two. We're going to split the expenses into fixed and variable expenses. And then, as I was telling you earlier, that money set aside for the future is called savings, and it's shown as an expense. So you put it under the expense tab. Now, the balance of the budget, you hear it always in the news when they're talking about balancing the budget of Ontario or of Canada. It's basically checking the differences between total expenses and total income. And your goal is to make sure that you're not in the negatives, right? You're either zero or in the positive. If you're in the zero, you're balancing. So whatever you're making, you're spending. if your answer at the end is positive, that means you're saving, you have money leftovers. And then if you're in a negative, that means you are spending more than you're making. A lot of time we look at pictures or at graphs to be able to read them. We need to be able to read them, and we need to know how to read them. And also we need to be able to do some calculations, because sometimes it's given to you in percentage. You need to find it in actual dollar amount, and you need to be able to convert between the percentage and the dollar amount. So we have the example. So it's a pie chart that shows Jamie's expenses for 1 month. The total dollar value of Jamie's monthly expense was $3,000. So this is how much she spent during that month. Now we're gonna see how much percentage goes to each item. So we have housing and utilities is 30%. We have food and clothing is 21%. Health and personal care is 4%. Transportation is 13%. Recreation and education 7%, savings 10%, and miscellaneous is 15%. Now, if you want to find how much did she spend on transportation, what do you do?
Multiply by 3,000 multiplied by 30,
0.13. So you multiply the 3,000, which is the total amount that you spend, by 13, and then you divide by 100. Or you can multiply by 0.1. So that is telling us that she spent $309 per month on transportation. So if we're looking how much did she spend on her top 2 expenses combined, so what are her top 2 expenses combined?
The housing and utilities, food and clothing.
So housing, utilities, and food and clothing. How can I calculate how much did she spend on both of them combined?
separately. We have to do separately.
Should I add the percentage together and time by 3,000?
Both of you are correct. So you can do it separately, where you do 30% times 3,000, this times 3,000, and then add them. Or if you add your percentage, which is easier, and then multiply by 3,000, that would give you the answer as well. So 30% and 21%, that is 51%. So I can multiply 3,000 by 0.51, and the answer is $1,530 per month. We're expecting something more than 1,500 because 50% is 1,500, so she spent more than 50% on both combined. Now, we have a different type of expenses here. So Anika has already split her expenses into housing, transportation, other, into like three, I think it's 3 different categories that she has. And then some of them are monthly, some of them are not monthly. They're annually or bi-weekly or whatever. So when you're looking at a budget, you have to change, and if you're trying to make a budget, you have to change everything into monthly. right? You can't have them in different units. The first thing that we're gonna look at if they're variable or if they are fixed, right? And I've already highlighted the ones that are fixed and the ones that are variable next to each one. Why is it important to know if they're fixed or variable? Why is it important to know if they're fixed or if they're variable? Why do we care?
When we fixed, then we have a fixed amount to multiply with the yearly or monthly number.
But why is it important to know if it's fixed or variable?
To make a budget.
To design a.
Can you change your rent?
No.
Saving, we can find out.
Can you change your rent?
No.
No. Can you change if you bought a car and then you have a monthly payment for that car? Can you change that?
No,
What kind of payments are these?
it's a fixed.
Fixed.
These are fixed. Can you change how much food you buy?
No.
No, we can.
Yeah.
You can.
Not me.
Can go.
It's very odd.
It's a variable. You can.
Yeah.
Like if you decide that you want to cut on food, you can.
Yeah.
You can stop eating meat for a week,
Not strong.
right?
Yes,
Right? Or you can decide not to buy chips for that week,
Yeah.
right? Or you can decide not to go to the restaurant as many times and then buy food and make them at home, right? So these are variables that you can change, right? You can decide to take the bus instead of driving and spending gas on your car,
Or you
right?
can walk.
So these are variables, or you can walk, right? So these are variables that you can change. The fixed amounts you can't change, right? They're technically something that you have to have. Like your insurance on your house or on your car. There's nothing you can do about that, right? So these are things that you can't, 90% of the time you can't change.
Like cable phone and stuff like this, can you change?
You can if you want. Like you can, we were spending $100 on our cable about a few months ago, and then we're not even watching these cable
Yes.
channels, right? My kids watch YouTube and Netflix. I watch on the internet, right? So why do I need to pay that $100 for no reason, right? So we started taking off like the things that we don't need, right? Things like this, if you want to cut on your budget, you can find some stuff, right? Usually under miscellaneous or others, or like the food, big item usually is the food. Entertainment usually is another thing. Basically, if you wanna balance a budget, you have to sit home and do that. So Anika needs to save $7,500 over the next 12 months, so over the next year, to start her own small business. Her monthly income after payroll deduction is $3,000, so she takes home $3,000 per month. She earns an average of $50 a month from investment, so on top of the $3,000, she earns $50. She prepares the following list of her expenses. So as you can see, the housing, the transportation, and whatever. Now what they want you to do, first thing, and you always have to do that, you have to convert anything that's not monthly into monthly, because we're designing a monthly budget. Okay? So we're gonna start, her income is monthly, so I don't have to worry about changing her income, right? Because it's already monthly. Now looking at the first one, so she's paying $850 for rent each month, which includes heat and water. Do I have to worry about that? No, because it's already monthly. An average of $75 each month for electricity. It's monthly, but it's monthly, so I don't have to change it. $105 per month for a phone, cable, internet bundle. Again, monthly. I'm looking at the word monthly, right? So monthly card payment of $420. You don't have to worry about that. Annual vehicle license fee, right? So this is something that's annual. I have to convert it to monthly. What do I do? Divide by 12. we're gonna put everything to the nearest decimal, to the nearest, I mean, number, whole number, so we're gonna say it's about 6. Then she has $420 for car insurance twice a year.
2 divided by 2.
So she paid $420 twice a year. How much will it be monthly?
Should be what?
Divide by 6, right?
6.
Divide by 6 because this is twice a year, so that means every 6 months she paid. If I want to know every month, divide by 6. Then we have $150 a month for gas. I don't have to worry about that. $30 every 3 months for oil changes. How can I change it to monthly? Guys, she's paying $30 every 3 months. So how can I make it into monthly?
By 4?
You're not doing it annually.
No.
4 is a quarterly, right? 3 months, and year is a
So every 3 months, she pays $30. How much would it be per month?
$10.
Yes, and how did you do that?
Yeah.
It's all 10.
Divide by 3.
Honestly.
Because it's every 3 months, right? Every 3 months. So if you want to do per month, you divide by 3.
Don't watch this video. You will laugh a lot.
And then she pays $450 per year for maintenance and repairs. Divide by 12 to get the month. That's about 38. Is that right? Yeah. Then we have $250 for groceries. I'm gonna expect this is monthly. $200 for clothes and personal care. Again, that's monthly. $100 a week for restaurant meals. How can I find what would it be per month?
Is it multiplied by 4 is a 400 and 52.
Mm-hmm.
100.
Not 4 multiplied by 4.
Sabrina, why not 4?
Because yesterday you said like every month or not for weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
The month is not 4 weeks.
Guys, we have 52
52?
weeks.
So if I multiply by 52,
Yeah.
what would that money be? For how long?
For 1 year.
For 1 year. And then what do I have to do to get it per
Divide by
month?
12.
Divided by 12.
Thank you. So, for restaurants, and guess what's gonna happen on the test? You guys are gonna multiply by 4. I'm gonna put a big X across on it. Unless you guys live in a different continent where they have only 48 weeks a year. That's the only time you can do that. That should be 433 about a month for restaurants. And then $20 automatically deducted from her bank account for charitable donation, that's every month.
And she pays a lot
For what?
for everything. Don't know why.
Alright. Is there any expenses that you think Anika has forgotten to include? Explain, estimate the monthly amount of any missing expenses.
For transportation from John.
She bought the car, it's like a whole list there. Anything else that you can think of?
Clothes and personal care.
Hmm? I put entertainment because I feel like at least you're gonna go watch maybe like a movie, maybe one movie a month, or if you wanna go watch a concert, or if you wanna go to a party with your friends, right? That's not a restaurant, so at least once a month she's gonna have to go out other than restaurants with her friends, and right? So I'm gonna just say, because this is how I design my budget, I'm gonna say entertainment, and I'm gonna say let's say about $30 a month. Alright, now we're gonna take all these numbers and then we're gonna put them in a spreadsheet, okay? Where we can actually calculate the expenses and the income. So this is how the spreadsheet look like, or how you can, you can, if you want, divide it into different columns. So we have the fixed, we have the variable, and then we have the total, and then this is we have the income, and then we have the expenses. So let's look at creating that monthly budget. So we're gonna start with the salary. Is her salary fixed?
Yes.
And then how much is it?
3,000.
So that goes under. And then her salary is fixed. Sometimes if you have a salary where you're earning, let's say, commission on top of your salary, right? So that commission would go under the variable, right? Because it's not fixed, right? And then you have to add both the fixed and the variable to make your total, all right? Investment, so she makes $50. Again, that's also fixed. So if I add this for the total income, I have nothing for the variable, right? So that's gonna add to 3,000. Okay? Basically, if you add these two, they're gonna equal to this, and if you add these two, they're gonna equal to that, right? So they should always be consistent, right? Then we're gonna go to the expenses. So for housing, what was her rent? $850. So that, and that's a fixed, right? Nothing else she pays for the rent. Utilities, I think it says about $75 per month for electricity. Since it says about or an average of $75, so that is what? Fixed or variable? Variable. So we're gonna put it right here. Sorry, 75. Phone, cable, internet, 105, and that's also variable. Now in this right here, you're gonna make your subtotal for the fixed. So it's gonna be 850. The subtotal for the variable in this section is 180. And then your total subtotal for both fixed and variable is both of these together, or if you add all of these together, it's gonna should give you the same answer, right? And it's gonna be 1,070. Do you guys understand what's going on? Okay. So these are, I'm gonna highlight the important parts right here. So far what I have, this is how much money she makes, right? In total. And so far this is how much she's spending. So she's spending 1,030, that's only on house. Okay? Now we're gonna move to transportation. Car payment was $420, and it was fixed, right? So I have to put it under fixed, and then I would write under the total as well. How about the fuel cost? That's a variable, and then how much was it? 150. How about the insurance? So it's a fixed, and it was $70. And other expenses for the car, what did she have?
Yes.
License and oil change and maintenance, right? So she had 3 different things that she listed. License, is it variable or fixed? It's fixed. How much was it?
75.
I think it's $6.
Six, yes.
So you have to put it under fixed. How about the maintenance and the oil change? Are they fixed or variable? They're variable, and then if you add them together, that's gonna give you 48, right? Because she spent 38 and $10, so it's gonna be 48. So I'm gonna have to put it right under here. Okay. So because in this case I just put others, right? So I'm gonna have different things in that row, and that's gonna be $54. So now to find the subtotal, again, you can add these 3 together and put it right here. So that's gonna be you're gonna add these 2 and put it right here. And then if you add all these 4 things, or if you add these 2, they should give you exactly the same answer, right? Because I'm adding this or I'm adding this, they're gonna give me the same answer. So and then the answer is 694. So this is another group of expenses. Then we're gonna go to the food. So groceries, how much does she spend on groceries? $250, and obviously that is variable, right? Spot. And then on restaurants, she spends no. $433. That's $100 a week. So if you add them up, and we're gonna go to other. So clothing and personal items, she spent, it says $200. And again, this is variable, so we have to put it under the variable. Entertainment, we said $30, and again, it's variable. And then charitable donation, it comes out as fixed $20 every month. Now remember that the savings so she wants to save $7,500 over the next 12 months. So how much is she saving every month? How much does she have to put on the side every month? So 7,500 for the next 12 months. What do I do?
Oh, so we
Divided by 12.
That's right. So we did not do that earlier. So the savings is 7,500 divided by 12. So how much is that? 6. How much? And then remember that the savings are considered as expenses, right? So that's why I have to include them right here. Because she has to put them aside, so they're coming out of her account. So another account, but still.
I need to do the same. I need to do the same.
So let's see. The total expenses, what I can do is I can add the total fixed expenses, right? So I can add all of this fixed expenses. Or what you can do, you can add this. Yeah, just highlight it with red. So the expenses starts from here. So you're gonna do this, 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 oops, and this. You're gonna add them, and then you're gonna put it for the total fixed expense. So these are the fixed that she can't change. Should equal to 1,991. Let me know if that's different than what you have. So you guys got? Okay?
Yeah.
We're gonna also add the total expenses for the variable. So we're gonna add 180. And then 198. And 230. Did I miss any? I missed. So we have to add all of this, and then they should add up to 1,291. If I add these two, the 1,991 plus 1,291, it's gonna be exactly the same if I add all of these blue highlighted. Okay? Try that. Try adding the highlighted blue ones. So 1,030, 694, 683, 350, 625. How much do you get?
So, which one you want us to run?
They should be exactly the same, right? Otherwise, you've done something wrong, you need to go back and check. Okay? So what was the answer for this? 3,208. Now, her total expenses are 3,282. How much is she making?
3,050.
Okay, so let's see if she balanced or not. So if I do 3,050, which is her income, minus her expenses, she's gonna be in debt with a negative 232.
Go.
Don't forget she's putting in savings $625. If she wants to save that $7,500 in 12 months, she better cut on some of her expenses in order to be able to actually save that money and not be, right?
Spending is very good.
So, the question is, what percent of Anita's costs are fixed? And why is it important? How much was her total cost? Okay, so her total cost of 3,282. What was her fixed cost?
The fixed cost was
1,991.
Now, if I want to know the percentage of it, what do I do?
divided by 100.
Multiply by
No.
No.
Multiply what by 100? What do I have to do first?
percentage.
First add the percentage.
I want to know the ratio.
Divided
Divide
by
by
each
what?
other. The fixed by the variable.
That's right. So divide 1,991 by 3,282, right? And then you times it by 100 to get the percentage.
Y2 divided by Y1.
Okay, so 1,901. So that should be about 60.7%. So 60% or 61% of her expenses are fixed. Why is it important to know? I've already discussed this with you. Why is this important?
Because we cannot change it.
Yeah. It is harder to cut back on fixed costs. Can Anika meet her savings goal with her current income and expenses? If not, in which categories might she be able to cut back on costs? Well, because what?
Because she's been doing that.
Her balance is not
Negative.
equal to zero, yeah, it's negative.
Negative 20.
Where do you think she can cut?
Not
I would say the personal stuff.
Like what kind of personal stuff that she can
The
cut?
clothing, personal.
So she can cut on the personal line clothing.
She can buy one. She can buy every 2 months, not buy every month. Too much. $100.
Two.
Yeah.
What else? Restaurants, right? She spends a lot of money on restaurants, maybe she wants to cut the restaurants and maybe cook more out.
She have to cut the cable. She's not sitting at home. Stand outside.
She should go to an office.
How did the budget help you answer parts D and E? I'm just gonna answer them. So basically, it shows the total income and the total expenses, right? And it also splits the fixed and the variable expenses, right? So it helps you know if you're making the budget, number one, if you're balancing, and number two, it helps you, it tells you where you can cut.